What's up, folks? It's your Manny, Church of Dog, here in Santa Barbara, California. Got a degree in religious studies from UCSB, and been studying religious studies for the last 15 years. American religious traditions and Buddhism, but I have studied all of the world's major traditions. And so I wanted to just do a little talk here of, something I encounter a lot, and something I really, come across quite often is that question. Can we contact somebody after they're dead, after they're gone? Can we connect with them or stay connected? So often when people talk about people that are gone, they always say, "Oh, he's gone. He's dead. We used to be friends. He was a friend of mine. He was my love. He was, a beautiful part of life. He was, incredible. He was so strong." And it's really tough because I haven't lost that many people too close to me. So, just to be clear here, and not to kind of deny the real sadness and the real horrible pain and suffering that happens when we lose somebody and they transition to the next phase of existence. And I just think it's so important to realize that it is really sad and it is really tragic, especially a child dies or somebody dies unexpected or in an accident. I've almost died a number of times, and in really tragic ways. I got held under by my surfboard one time, got stuck on a rock, fucking got held underwater, fucking almost drowned. So just having to realize that, first of all, it's really sad, but then second of all, maybe there is more to the equation. Maybe there is a different language we could use. Maybe we could look into the past at what people have said traditionally. Maybe we could just even be open and just say, hey, I'm going to be open to seeing if there is a way to still be in touch with this person. And, I was watching this Buddhist monk the other day, Thich Nhat Hanh, and he talks about this father who comes home after sailing and finds that the whole town has been burned to the ground by pirates, and amidst the dead bodies and the burned out remains of the village, he finds a burned body of a young boy that resembles his son, and he buries his son and he cries for him, and he's very sad and looks at the front door. And when the old man answers it and sees this grown adult, he asks him, hey, what are you doing here? And the adult says, hey, it's me. I'm your son. I came back. I had to run away when the pirates came, but I escaped, and I found my way back to you. And the father says, you're not my son. He says, get away from me. I don't know you. And I don't really have that much to say other than so often that's the case. These people that have gone beyond, they are knocking on the door. They are knocking on the door. And when we answer the door, we say, who is that? I don't know you. You don't look the same as you did before. I'm convinced you were gone. Not to say that's not going to necessarily alleviate the suffering of them missing, but it does mean that sometimes they do come from beyond. And, I could think of a number of examples of, when that's happened for me. But, I would say if you see this video and you want to, leave a comment if that's ever happened for you. If you've ever had an experience where you felt maybe they were coming back, maybe they were knocking on the door. In Hawaiian culture, they say that, the ancestors are looking after us, protecting us, guiding us. In the African religious tradition, they say that the ancestors are there as well to guide us and protect us. And it's even said that sometimes somebody will pass beyond because they're more helpful as an ancestor. They're more helpful as a being that can guide us in a spiritual, non-physical sense. But here's the thing, and just take this to heart if you want to. Why do we think it's so crazy somebody connects with somebody who's gone beyond? But if somebody says, I feel a connection to Jesus, that's totally fine. Nobody would say, you're crazy, you can't connect with Jesus. They would just say, oh, that person's religious. I mean, they might say they're crazy. But in general, people would say, oh, no, they're just a Christian. Oh, they think they have this connection with Jesus. You know, which whatever you believe on, you might believe that that's true. You might say, oh, that's in their head. Who knows? But regardless, no one's going to say that really, like, that person's completely insane. I mean, in general, right? People aren't going to say that. But if you said, oh, you know, I just, hold on, let me take a few minutes and pray to my grandmother. Hold on, I feel like I'm supposed to bless you in the name of my friend who just passed on. Oh, you know, I need to really focus on this person's strength that they had who died and try to manifest that within myself. Maybe they were very courageous. Maybe they were very brave. Maybe they were funny. And I'm going to think to myself, I'm going to try to focus on them. I'm going to try to be like that person. You know, when I go to the gym and I work out, you know, and I exercise, I think of my grandpa. And sometimes I wouldn't say I call on him, but I connect with him. When I'm lifting the weights, when I'm working out, he comes to me. And he died of a heart attack running. And he comes to me sometimes when I'm working out too hard, when I'm kind of missing the point, when I'm pushing it so hard, but not really enjoying myself. Maybe I'm going to hurt myself. Maybe I'm going to crash soon. But I connect. That's when, Grandpa Don comes to me and he just kind of says, hey, don't push yourself so much. Life's short. Enjoy what you're doing. Be grateful that you can be active. You don't need to push yourself into some sort of hell just to feel like you fucking somehow later aren't going to be suffering as much. Like, you just don't need to do it. Now, if you really enjoy doing it, if you have a purpose in your training or whatever, hey, great. But just be clear what's going on. Are you really coming from a place of enjoyment and enjoying the exercise, or is this some weird form of self-abuse? Is this some weird sort of, it's never enough kind of shit? Is this some weird sort of like, obsessive compulsive disorder? Is this a weird sort of body image issue? So anyways, that's just what I'm saying. Who knows how these beings will come to us, and who knows what that's like for them on the other side. But I do know this, and I don't know where we all came from. Before we were here, maybe we didn't exist. Or maybe we did exist in some sense. And we come through this lifetime and then go back to how we were before in some weird way. Just like a tree comes out of the ground and all the nutrients, all the air, all the water, they make that tree. We could say that the tree is composed of all those different things. Without the water, we wouldn't have the tree. Without the ground, we wouldn't have the tree. Without the leaves from the tree that died before that made the nutrients, we wouldn't have the tree. So the tree is comprised or composed of these things. And that's just like us. We're composed of all these different things coming together. It's a beautiful thing. That's what creates us. And even though these parts of us will break apart again, there is a part of us that is of that nature that was not born. There's a part of us that is of that nature that wasn't born and maybe does not die in a sense. In a sense, parts of it are born and parts of it do die. But in another sense, that part of us, that essence, that thing that makes a tree and makes it be alive, that spirit, that force, that energy, is like a little flame that comes to a match. And one day the flame is gone. The memory of the light remains, and all the things that light's affected remain. The warmth from that light remains. But we'll talk more. We'll talk more about this. So, if you have lost somebody, it is sad, and it's okay to be sad. It's okay to grieve. So often people use the afterlife as an excuse to write off people's sadness and to not be empathetic to the suffering that people are feeling. And we should never use wisdom or knowledge to write off people's bad feelings that they're having. We should use it to call on strength within ourselves so we can learn from what we're feeling them feel, so we can absorb some of that for them, help relieve some of their suffering. But we shouldn't be using wisdom to invalidate people's feelings. But so often, that's the case. People say, like, well, don't be sad because of this, or don't be sad because of this. You should never tell anybody how to feel, but that's just that, folks. Hope you have a great day or great night. And if you're having a shitty time, I'm sorry. That sucks. So I hope you're doing well. And I'll be putting up daily video. I'm going to go for every day because I got these things I got to get off my chest. I've been studying, religious studies for 13, 14, 15 years or something, probably longer. And I haven't really put forth any of that information or perspective that I've gained over those years. I've learned a lot, and I have attempted to put things out at times, but it wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right place. So now I feel like it might be the right time and the right place. So that's just that. If you like this, subscribe, great. And leave a comment if you want. But I love you all dearly, and I do appreciate you watching, and I really appreciate uh, the attention that you've given to this video. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
I was man. So you know what we do right here? We're in the streets on radio. People tuned in right now. We gotta let people know. We try to be real supportive of the local hip hop scene, the local musicians, independent hip hop artists all around by playing their music. But word on the streets, man, we gotta let people know what's popping. So within the last week or so, you sent me a new track right there, a couple new tracks.